and welcome back to Dreams, Passion, and Your Hong Kong Story. Each time we bring before you on this platform inspirational stories of amazing people who have found success on this magnificent land that we proudly call Hong Kong. Today we have with us one such very inspirational person with us, Maitreyi Karanth, a stand-up comedian, actor, and philanthropist who runs Koma Foundation that serves a lot of poor people in helping them build their homes, serves a lot of causes for single women, helps children in Philippines. Let's talk to Maitreyi and find out about her Hong Kong journey. Hello, Maitreyi, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Jaya. Thank you for having me.
So, Maitreyi, tell us, where are you originally from? A little bit about yourself to your audience. Any influences in your life that has shaped you into the person you are today?
I'm from a very small town in India, in the south of India, which is an educational town. I grew up there, and yes, a lot of influences in my life growing up. I lost my dad when I was very young, 9 years old. And at that time, for my mom, she had like zero money in her bank account. She's blind. My mom has retinitis pigmentosa. And being, a widow in those days, I'm talking about how I'm 52 now, so 40 years ago, was a huge uphill battle. So I saw her fight that, throughout my growing up years. While she was fighting that, I was fighting my own battle because I was like my dad. My dad was into public speaking. So I was also completely in love with the stage. And there was no one there that would support a girl, a fatherless girl with a mom who's blind, etc., to go up on stage. So that was my fight, but I did it. I fought, and I decided, instead of doing other things that regular teenagers would do or ask for or fight for, my fight was always about, I want to be on stage, I want to be the MC, I want to be going for a public speaking competition, etc. So I think I learned. Maybe I imbibed, I didn't know then, but I imbibed a lot of my mom's fighting spirit, which,
Wow.
which was very different. My mom is a very gentle soul. So her fight came, a lot of her strength came from so deep within, with that she didn't know, whereas my fight was more was different because it had to be there outside. Like it couldn't come just from deep within. So
Yeah.
we had our own little, but I'm sure we both took a lot of strength from each other.
Wow, interesting. So then tell us a little bit about your early career in India. How did it all start? Were you always funny from the beginning, or did you discover that aspect later? Like, how did you start? Did you always think that you'll be a stand-up comedian someday?
No, never in my radar, never. I wanted to be an actress. My whole dream was to be a huge, my actual dream, I will tell you, was to be a humongous actress, make a lot of money, and then to start a charity with that money. That was my dream from when I was maybe 6 or 7 years old. I used to tell my dad and mom that that is what I wanted to do. But of course, life took me in different, wonderful, but different directions. So I didn't do any of that. And my comedy career came at the age of 45.
Oh,
And it
okay.
was a complete coincidence. And it happened only in Hong Kong. I didn't do comedy in India, or the next place I lived in was Bahrain. I never did any comedy. It was not in my radar at all.
So
So
how
it
did you start in India? Like, what is your educational background?
So I did an MBA. I did a mathematics degree first, BSc, and then I did an MBA. So when I went then to Bahrain, I couldn't find, during those days as a woman, I couldn't find, it was mostly only secretarial job that did not suit my qualifications or my interest. So then I started maths tutoring business, which became very successful there. So when I moved to Hong Kong, I started again here and also became very successful here. But when I hit 40, my dad passed away at 40. So I thought, I have all these God-given talents, dad-given talents, but I have done nothing with it so far. So that's when I closed down the business, and I got myself into an acting diploma, and then got into comedy, and yeah.
So how did Hong Kong happen? And did you do your acting diploma in Hong Kong?
Yes. So Hong Kong was just purely me coming with my husband. We have one son, and my husband got a job in Hong Kong. I knew nothing about Hong Kong when I first came. Everything looked like matchboxes to me. After living in the Middle East where you have houses sprawled and stuff like that, it was very interesting. But boy, do I love this place. It's completely my home now. I can't
Right.
imagine, anywhere else. I
So
think,
how long in Hong Kong for you now?
sorry,
How long in Hong Kong for you now?
23 years.
23 years. That's a
Yes,
long time.
yes,
So
that's a
you
long
came to
time.
Hong Kong, and did you immediately start out with the acting school, or like did you again go back, do something, and then change your mind?
No, so when I came to Hong Kong, first year I just wanted to adjust. I did a lot of, I went to a lot of networking events. I wanted to find my groove here. And then I started my maths tutoring business because that was what was in my radar. I was already successful, in the Middle East with that. So I thought, let me just start that here. And I love teaching maths. I miss it now. I love it. And it's usually senior school kids. I get on very well with them. So that's what I started. So for a
Oh,
long time, that's what I was running.
okay. So you did the acting school, and then how did comedy start for you?
So comedy was completely a fluke. I was sitting somewhere with my best buddy and I saw a flyer that said open mic there used to be, Hong Kong Brew House. They used to have an open mic there. So I was telling him because my best friend and me, we are always messing around and, joking, and we have a very dry sense. He's Scottish, dry sense of humor. And we used to have fun in any situation. So I said to him, I love the stage. I love writing. And I also love, having fun during parties and things. I'm always the one that, gives a little bit of entertainment everywhere. So I thought, why not put all of it together and try an open mic? So that's how I went for my first open mic.
Oh,
Saurabh Pant, that Indian comedian who was very popular then, he came to the open mic. Just he was here for his own show. He came to see how the Hong Kong open mic scene is. He watched me and his producer said, "Will you open for him tomorrow?" And that's how, I was suddenly, a comedian. I opened for him, and then Jamie at Takeout watched me. He said, "Do you want a gig here?" etc., etc. So that's how everything just went boom, boom, boom. And the next thing I knew, I closed, I was doing just this most of the time.
wow, that's so interesting. So you just landed, one day you see something, you just go try it out, and then you see that, oh, I can actually do something so interesting like this. And
Yes.
did you keep following up? Like, how did that happen? I mean,
Yeah, of
how
course.
did the,
I mean, it was like a drug, from day one. I loved it so much. Like I said, it had all the elements that is my forte. It
right.
had stage, it had writing, and in general, I'm the kind of person that can go talk to anyone and that can grasp anyone's sense of humor anyway in real life. So it was
Oh,
just all my kind of scene. So it was like an absolute drug. It still is.
so so who are your audience when you do these stand-up comedy? Is it a lot of expat population in Hong Kong, or are there a lot of locals as well? Because comedy, I believe, you know, has, if you are targeting the target audience, like the comedy would need to take a shift there.
So the audience will always be, if you're speaking in English, it will be someone who has a grasp of the language. So it doesn't matter which language. Like you could have a local who doesn't have the grasp of or you could have an expat German or a French person who doesn't have a grasp of English who will not enjoy it. So the audience who know that they can get the language and the jokes through the language are the ones that are going to be there. So we will have local audiences that, and also expat audiences, anyone that, gets the language basically. And yeah.
There must be some nuances, like you must have kind of figured it out in the comedy, because coming from India, let's say your background is from India, are there anything you noticed that would be fine in India, but absolutely not fine to do in Hong Kong. How did you manage to figure that out?
Because I've lived now more than 30 years abroad. I haven't lived in India for a very long time. When I lived in India, I didn't do comedy. You see, so all my comedic sensibilities come mostly from me being outside of India, because that is how long I have been outside of India. I've lived outside more than I've lived inside. And while I'm writing, which is only the last, what, 6 or 7 years, my all my comedic sensibilities come from being wherever I am, right?
Mhm.
So that is here in Hong Kong. So I didn't have that uh, duality. I didn't have that confusion, what will work in India or what will work in. I didn't have that confusion at all.
Okay, but are a lot of your guests in the show Indians? I mean, do they expect you also because you are from India? Sometimes in your comedy, do you have Indian influences? Like, who have been, since you say you've been so influenced by your father, so in your comedy, have you seen any intersection of the cultural element from India?
I mean, not really. I will always have a section where, there will be jokes about India or about things that we do in India, etc. That's also because you can't just joke about other people. You have to joke about you and your people as well, to make the audience comfortable. But we don't necessarily have an all Indian audience. It's a mixed audience every single time. So you can't go deep into Indian things that other audiences don't understand. It's only when you have an all Indian audience you can do something that's very relative to India, that's very, very Indian.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, I'm a well-traveled woman. I've lived abroad for so long. So I pick comedy from different countries. I really make fun of my husband for 15 minutes. Because when I started comedy, I decided I don't want to be known as one kind of comedian. Oh, she only talks about this. Oh, she only talks about that. So I have a whole lot of, oh, I traveled to US and here's a whole lot of US jokes. And I traveled to Thailand. Here's some jokes about Thailand. I traveled to India. Here's jokes about India. And in the end, always I end with about 12 to 15 minutes of, oh, here's my husband. Let's make fun of him.
I see. How interesting. Wow. Okay. The other question that comes to my mind, because you talk about, that you've been to so many countries and obviously those influences come. So when you have been, let's say, talking about particular country or particular incidents, do you ever feel that you bombed it? Like, have you ever felt that, oh, this didn't really go right?
In very early in my career, yes, and that happens to everybody, and that's how you learn. If you don't bomb, you don't learn. You see, so yeah, in early in my career, and it's your heart sinks. Your
Really?
heart sinks anyway. Even if you have a great set, but one joke that you tried that is new has bombed, your heart just goes boop, and then you have to pick it up. So that's something you learn as well, not to take that, so seriously within that your next joke spoils because it shows on you that you're panicking. Those are the things that you learn when you are, doing it. Just as you do it, you learn it.
What has been one of the most quirkiest audience reaction that you have experienced?
I wouldn't say quirky. Audiences in Hong Kong are so fabulous. So much respect. They love, they show their love, etc., etc. But there are some things, this is, I guess, around everywhere in the world that men can do, but, when a woman does it, you get some feedback about it. Like, for example, a man, we have, so many men. There are, say, graphic things in comedy, right, on stage. Whereas even if I talk even about my own husband, but I am saying something a little bit more sexual, then I had this Indian lady the other day who came up to me and she said, I haven't seen your comedy, but I heard it's racy. And I said, when out of an hour, there's 15 minutes of husband jokes. There is maybe 3 minutes of Oh, I have a menopause because I am a woman. I'm a menopause woman and I talk about it, right? The rest is all America, Germany, India. And yet, as a woman, you will be judged as racy for those little bit of things that you have said, which are sexual, even if it is with your husband or whatever. So those kind of things I have noticed are there. And it's not necessarily a man coming and telling you this. It can be a woman coming and telling you this as well. But so that's just how the world is. And I guess we are riding that right now as we did before. So.
And on that note, tell us one of your most exciting moments on stage.
Oh, exciting. I've had a few. Actually, I had one where I produced a show. This was during the protests. So we didn't know whether it was even going to happen. And yet people came, through that. They came late. We started late because, they had to get through all these hoops. And yet we had 350 people. And as a sole producer and a comic, just to be on that stage, it was so memorable for me. Just to see the support and everything, from across, right? We have a multitude of nationalities that come to our show. So across the board, there was so much support. That was amazing. There was
Wow.
another one where I did a show for UN in Bangkok, which also was a very beautiful experience because we were comics from different parts of Asia that were put together to do the show on that evening. So that was beautiful as well. So yeah, in this industry, you have many, many such memorable experiences in
How
comedy.
many shows have you produced, Maitreyi, so far?
I've produced quite a few, and most of the time when I do my one woman shows, those I produce as well. And usually I link my all my shows, whatever make money I make goes to my charity directly. So I have linked those two so that I have a greater purpose with my talent. It's
Yeah.
not just for me.
So tell us a little bit about Koma Foundation. Like, how did it all start? What is it all about?
So Coma, again, it wasn't something I meant to do, was not a plan. But I used to, so I've had, Filipina helpers for as long as I've been outside of India, and they've been amazing. My mom, she needs help because I told you she's blind, and she gets on amazingly with every single helper that I've had. So they've been a real blessing. And so I've always had a kinship with them. So every time there has been a typhoon, you know how they get hit by typhoons. I've always done something. So when COVID happened, one of my ex helpers, who was also like a sister to me, she and I got together. I told her, let's put a team together and start feeding people. And I was doing shows here anyway, because we were still open inside of Hong Kong, right? We were all very busy at that time doing our own things. So I said, I have shows anyway, all the money we can put it into the feeding. So we started feeding. So that's how we started. And then I used to be very hands-on. I used to be on the video and at every feeding. And I met a family there where the lady she had stroke, she had a little kid, and was living in a hut. I met her, spoke to her, couldn't sleep that night. Next morning, I said to my team, you know what, let's build a house for her. I then decided I'll have a one-woman show. Whatever we make on that, 50,000 Hong Kong dollars, you can build a beautiful, proper home with tiles, bricks, roof, etc., two bedroom. That's how we started. And
Wow.
we built that house, and she didn't make it. She passed away while we were building that house. But we built that house and we decided, I said, this is going to be called Koma. My dad's name was Koni Mahabaleshwara Karanth. But thankfully, he signed as Koma. Otherwise, can you imagine the name for my charity? So I said, okay, I will call this home Koma 1. And you know that we have a laborer team now anyway. So I thought, why waste this opportunity? Let's just continue building homes. But each of our laborers were living in the same condition as, this lady Madeline and her family was living. So we built each of our laborers a home first,
Wow.
paid them for building their own homes. And then once we finished all 9 laborers, then we started building for general public. And I got such amazing response here in Hong Kong because I just very generally, as I do with everything, I put it on Facebook, and then I had so many wonderful, mostly Indian actually, wealthy Indians who came up to me and said, "Oh, I'll sponsor a house. I'll sponsor 2 houses." I don't know how many houses Raju Wadhwani, for example, and his sister Roma have sponsored. Shroff Foundation has sponsored, etc., etc. So it just went on, and we are on our 38th home now.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And
But
in the middle of all this, I also did a TED talk during COVID, TEDx talk. So when I did the TEDx talk, that also helped, in putting once you put your name out there, you're the face of the charity. So it helps with that as well, for
yeah.
exposure, for having fundraisers, etc., etc.
So what was the TEDx talk about?
TEDx talk was about how everything I started at the age of 40. So
Okay.
basically, whether it is comedy or acting. So how I spent my childhood fighting for my passions, and then had a very dormant time where life took me in different directions. And at the age of 40, how I rekindled my passion and why I did it. What was the click at 40 that made me start doing all of this again? Basically, I call it jumping at the deep end of the swimming pool, with no swimming,
Yeah.
basically. So, yeah.
So your life journey does prove that age is just a number. One can do wonderful things at any age.
Yes, absolutely.
So you did this, you've had this amazing stand-up comedian career, and now, of course, the philanthropic venture that you're doing. How has Hong Kong been a place for you to do all this?
I mean, how amazing is Hong Kong? You know that. So, for the comedy, obviously, we have, like I said, we have amazing audiences. Not once have I felt, from an audience perspective, I've never felt anything at all that made me feel I have to rethink this from an audience perspective. And for Koma, I mean, the amount of support I got, like as soon as I said, when I put it out, I was first doing it just personally, not as a Koma Foundation, right? So when I put it out, I had so much support. People coming to me, not just me going. I didn't go to anyone to begin with. So people were coming to me, and then also when we decided that I'm going to make this into a proper foundation, a charity, we had, I just put it out there in group chats, and we had pro bono lawyers who got us the Section 88. We had so many other pro bono services that were just given to us because it's there. Hong Kong has it. We have networks where you can just go and get help, get information, etc. So Section 88 otherwise would have been very hard for us to get, by ourselves. So yeah, we had Scadens who did our Section 88 for us. And as far as the donors go, it's just been an absolute blessing for me. And also, it showed me how wonderfully our Indian community works, because most of our big donors are from the Indian community. And
So,
they've just been so amazing. I'm sorry, I'm just gushing because it has been, for me, Hong Kong's a blessing, absolute blessing.
so your being an Indian, like a foreigner in Hong Kong, do you think has ever been a pushback or has ever been an edge actually in a place like this?
Neither. I have never felt, I don't think I have gone around as a representation anyway. I will be representing, even, when I'm there, for others, I will be a representation. From my perspective, I was always just gone there as a woman, a
Mhm.
person first, a person, then a woman, So I have never felt it to be holding me back in any way, my nationality, or that it's any edge. It would have been an edge if I was smart enough to have learned Cantonese, which I didn't, and I regret to this day. But my menopausal brain cannot handle learning a language now.
Well, maybe it still can. Age is not a
I know.
number for Maitreyi.
Yeah.
Okay, another thing that comes to my mind is you say that you got a lot of support from the community and, it all came up. So naturally, the entire growth story of your passion turning into business and, different ventures came so organically. How did you still manage to put a word out there? How was Hong Kong as a market for that? And do you see yourself that being able to now establish yourself as a stand-up comedian in Hong Kong, are you going to take it now from here to the other countries? And how beneficial you think Hong Kong has been for you from that angle?
So everything has been very organic from my perspective for in my life. Every change has been very organic. And as far as comedy goes, establishing yourself only has to do with your talent. It has to be your stage presence, your talent, how you write it, how you say it, etc. I don't think anything to do with your nationality at all. And as far as, I mean, there's a lot of networking that goes into this as well. And I am networking anyway for Koma. I am network for comedy. I network, my whole life here is about networking, but in a good way because I enjoy it, right? And there are so many things that you would do that does not feel like networking, especially in Hong Kong. There is a joy in meeting people. There's a joy in just going and meeting different nationalities. You could be in a bar in Hong Kong and just meet someone who 20 years later you're still friends with, right? So that happens all the time here. So I think it's all a very organic way of putting people together. We do it a lot in our house as well. Um, and for Koma, I think all of this then helps Koma. TEDx talk gives you that exposure. It was a beautiful 1,000 people there in the hall. That gives you exposure. Winning an award somewhere gives you exposure. So whatever you as a face go out and gives you back, in some form or the other. And I've learned to just put out your vibes. I've actually always done that fearlessly, wherein I've just been open and just said, hey, this is what I want to do. Oh my God, I hope this happens. This is how I've always been. And I've realized really you attract the same tribe, you attract the same vibes from people. So yeah, you find solutions without even knowing you're finding solutions. It's only in the retrospect I'm thinking, oh wow, that's what I wanted, that's what I got. Just,
Yeah.
put it out there all with this big heart.
So, Maitreyi, are you ready for our rapid fire question round? This is going
God,
to
I didn't know I had one.
Yeah, it's just those little fun questions that's going to give a peep to the audience into a little bit of the other aspects of your life.
Okay.
Very Hong Kong related. So
Okay.
what is Maitreyi's way of winding down in Hong Kong?
Hiking.
Okay. Your favorite restaurant in Hong Kong?
This one called Chongqing on
Mhm.
Elgin Street, run by a couple, lovely couple. Love it.
Okay. And what kind of food?
It's Chinese Sichuan food, and they have I'm a vegetarian, and they have a huge vegetarian menu.
Nice. And your hobby outside your work?
Hiking.
So if you were not pursuing a comedy career,
Yeah.
and of course you're a maths teacher, is there any other career that came to your mind?
Acting.
What would your advice be to people who would like to work, live, or invest in Hong Kong?
So Hong Kong is a wholesome place. So if you're coming here to travel, don't do the city only thing. We have what, 60% covered in nature. I mean, it is amazing the number of hikes, that the way they're kept, maintained, etc. So go do all of those, have a wholesome view of Hong Kong. I can't say much about investment because that's not in, I'm not in a business. I'm running a charity. But yeah, Hong Kong is heaven.
But what would you like? What is your advice be to the people looking to travel in Hong Kong?
Travel is just go do a wholesome trip of Hong Kong. I just had my cousin. First place I took him to was Mount High West, not the peak, Galleria, but Mount High West. And then we came down to do the Galleria. Actually, the beauty of Hong Kong is in its nature, which a lot of people don't know. They just see the buildings. but which are beautiful as well. And it's also, if you do nature, then you see how we Hong Kongers have built the city in the middle of nature so beautifully.
Well, thank you, Maitreyi, for coming to our show. We wish you all the very best in all your future endeavors.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
So that was Maitreyi Karanth, for whom age is not a number. What an inspiration to all of us, ladies and gentlemen. A big shout out to Maitreyi Karanth. We wish you all the very best going forward. Look forward to many more stand-up comedy from you. Thank you.
Thank you.